Welcome back to Comic Power. I'm your host, Comic Killer 72. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 new comics of 2015. The emphasis is going to be on independent comics. We're going to talk about some mini-series, some ongoing series. If you're tired of being on the hamster wheel of the big two and the stories are starting to get, kind of like a formula, then this is an opportunity to check out something new. This is going to be my personal list. If there's things that you like better, feel free to leave feedback in the comments. And here we go. Number 10, MayDay #1 from Black Mask Studios. The writer is Kurt Pyrus. The artist is Chris Peterson. The story is about a washed up, drug addicted screenwriter and a transgender bartender who stumble upon a satanic cult to sacrifice people all across LA in the form of a pentagram to bring on Armageddon. If that sounds completely nuts, it is, but it's well executed, and this story has been picked up for a TV show. How they can do it on TV, I don't know, but it sounds so outrageous. But if you see it, I advise you to pick it up. Number 9, Hench Girl #1 from Scout Comics. Posa hates her job. She works long hours for little pay, no insurance, and worst of all, no respect. Her co-workers are jerks, and the boss doesn't appreciate her. She also happens to be a supervillain, but she's cursed with her conscience, and she would do anything other than be a hench girl, but she's kind of stuck in this job. It's a real big spoof of superhero comics themselves, so if you like The Tick, or if you like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, then this is probably a good pickup for you. The writer and artist are both Kristen Gudsnuk. Number 8, Paper Girls by Image Comics. The writer is Brian K. Vaughan. The artist is Cliff Chang. In this series, it's sort of the War of the Worlds meets Stand By Me. It's basically 4 12-year-old newspaper delivery girls that get caught up in what appears to be possibly Armageddon, and all kinds of crazy stuff happens. And the writing is fantastic. It has lots of 1980s references because it's supposed to be taking place in 1988. There are 3 9.8s that have sold for an average of $68 on eBay. I advise you to pick this up. Brian K. Vaughan is one of the best writers of our time. Number 7, Darth Vader #3 from Marvel Comics. The writer is Kieran Gillen. The artist is Salvador LaRocca. In this story, basically what has happened is that Darth Vader needs help in getting some new equipment to fight the rebels. He recruits a new character called Afra, and this character is on the cover. She was an immediate hit with all of the comic book collectors, and there are 9.8s. 110 of them have sold for an average of $48.26. So this is a very sought after issue in the new comic book canon for the Star Wars ongoing series, which Darth Vader has his own ongoing title, which tells his side of the events. So Darth Vader #3, great read, nice pickup, great introduction of a new character. Number 6, Unfollow #1 from Vertigo Comics, which is a division of DC. The writer is Rob Williams. The artist is Michael Dowling. A dying social media mogul leaves his billions to be split evenly between 140 random people, or however many of them are still alive at the moment of his death. This story is amazing. It's sort of like if you took the movie Social Network and mixed it with Survivor and The Amazing Race on television. I've already got information that has been picked up through Warner Communications Television, which Vertigo DC is a part of, and pitched to ABC as a television series. If so, this would be outstanding and would work very well. Number 5, We Could Never Go Home #1 by Black Mask Studios. The writer is Matthew Rosenberg. The artist is Josh Hood. This is another amazing story that really took off from cover to selling to some outrageous type of prices really quickly. In a nutshell, you got a boy and a girl. They're both 17 years old. They discover they have superpowers. They decide to run away and act out, and they're on the run. It's sort of like if you had mutants that had not met Professor Xavier yet meets Bonnie and Clyde meets Romeo and Juliet, all wrapped up together with some mutant type of powers. It's a very, very amazing concept, and the writing on it has been terrific. Number 4, Miss Marvel #1 from Marvel Comics. The writer is C. Willow Wilson. The artist is Adrian Alfano. This is really a soft reboot. They start with #1. There was a #1 issue that came out in February 2014, but as a part of the all new, all different Marvel, they decided to start virtually all their titles with #1. Miss Marvel really didn't need it. They got the same writers, same artists. They're continuing the same type of continuity post Secret Wars. The only difference here is that she's an Avenger now. Number 3, Lady Killer #1 from Darkhorse Comics. The writers are Joelle Jones and James Rich. The artist is Joelle Jones. And this series is a very, very interesting type of game they're playing here, because the person who is the protagonist is Josie Schuler, who's by day a homemaker and a wife who sells like Avon products, but at night she's a contract killer for hire. But her conscience kind of gets to her. But it definitely struck a chord in people. The art was fantastic. Number 2, We Stay on Guard #1 from Image Comics. The writer is Brian K. Vaughan. There's that name again. I'll tell you, that guy's great. And the artist is Steve Scorse. What's going on here is it's supposed to be nearly 100 years in the future, and America's going through a severe drought. So we do what we always do. We go and take other people's stuff. And Canada is the Saudi Arabia of natural, good drinking water. So America invades Canada for Canada's drinking water. And this tells the story from the Canadian perspective of the Canadian rebels that are fighting back against the American invasion. Obviously, you can see that this is a very controversial story because the politics involved with two countries that are relatively peaceful towards each other. Before we go to #1, we're going to go over the honorable mention list, which includes Bloodshot Reborn #1. Bloodshot is not a new character by any means, but this is a new take on the character. Monstrous #1 is absolutely stunning visually. I just picked it up. It's like 60 odd pages and there's no ads. The art looks great. I really like what I'm seeing here visually. Also, there's Niobe. She is Life from Stranger Comics. The actress who played Rue in The Hunger Games is the co-writer of this. Batman #43 introduces a new villain called Mr. Bloom. It's a great read and a good long-term investment. Now that brings us to #1. #1 is Divinity #1 from Valiant Comics. The writer is Matt Kent and the artist is Trevor Harsan. On this story, I was absolutely blown away. This isn't even comic books anymore. This is top flight science fiction. Basically, the plot is this. In 1960, the Russian government decides that they're going to bypass the moon and take a man into space farther than anyone's ever gone into the cosmos. And the person they pick is an orphan black Russian. What the government doesn't know is that he has a girlfriend and a baby on the way, but duty calls, so he has to go out and take this mission. While out there, time goes by, they witness some type of anomaly between him and his crew members. He comes back to Earth and he's superpowered beyond the levels of a god, and he decides to set up a utopia in the Australian desert. I would absolutely, positively pick this book up. It went into like 5 printings. #1 literally went to like 5 printings. There are 16 9.8s that have sold on eBay for an average of $95. Get this book. I cannot say enough about it. Valiant is promising to bring the character back for 2016. I absolutely love it. It's an astonishing piece of fiction, so pick it up. There you have it, the top 10 new comics of 2015. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, of course, at the bottom. And feel free to subscribe. I will be going over more comic previews, speculation talk, and things of that nature. So have a fantastic day. This is Comic Killer 72 signing out. Bye-bye.